Welcome everybody to Inspire Services podcast number 2. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. We got an exciting topic to cover today on the Zone of Proximal Development, which was a cognitive theory developed by Lev Vygotsky in 1978. He's a well-known psychologist. And so we're going to get into the Zone of Proximal Development and how we use that at Inspire Services and how we incorporate that into our workouts.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to kind of hand that over to you, Daniel, and so you can explain a little bit more about ZPD.
So first off, we'll start off when we refer to ZPD, that means the Zone of Proximal Development,
Yes.
which is the distance between what the learner can do without help and what the learner can do with support from a knowledgeable adult or someone knowledgeable of that subject or what is going on. So if you look into it for the workout, there's a couple different things. So as far as the ZPD, it's really a 3-part circle. So you have the outer ring, which is what the individual does not know. The middle ring is what they can do with help, which is their ZPD. That's their learning zone. That's where we want to be. And then the inner circle is what they do know. So you want to combine what they do know with what they don't know and put them right in that zone of proximal development. And so we can do that. We won't get into any form or anything right away. We can get into things that lead up to the actual workout. So a lot of things we do to make sure we can keep these individuals in the ZPD is certain things like prompts, making sure the environment's right, having a fun environment, and then having our workouts set up on a consistent basis where each week they know that they're going to have round 1, round 2, round 3, but within each round is a variated workout each week.
Right.
Or each session, just depending on whether it's individual or group. And that is basically how you keep them in that zone of proximal development of setting up the actual workout. And then if you actually look into the ZPD during the workout, so you're going to keep an individual that says struggles with a plank, and maybe he or she can't keep her hips up. So what we're going to work on is working on keeping those hips up, whether it's with a band or some other form.
Yeah, the environment plays a huge role.
Yeah.
That's kind of what's cool about Inspire is the low stimuli when we go to these parks, and how that plays a role with how someone's developing and how their ZPD works is the environment.
Or even in the Inspire gym. I mean, we bring a radio for them to pick the music.
Very low pressure.
Very low pressure.
Very low pressure. And it's not very loud because we have one client that doesn't like loud music, so we have to, keep that in mind. And also the Inspire gym, it's a quiet place to be, so it doesn't have so much stimuli, which I think
it's
really
just,
helps.
You and the weights, and if you choose so, they could pick their own music. They can control a little bit about their environment, which I think can help with their development,
Yeah, no, definitely. And so, what about group zone of proximal development versus maybe an individual zone of proximal development?
So the group, there is one large ZPD. So that is what you have goal-oriented and what you have set up for the group that day and that workout. And then there's subsets of zones of proximal development throughout that large zone, because you have multiple individuals within the group setting. And then that becomes down on us knowing each client as they start to grow with us. This individual struggles with this individual struggles with that. But maybe they can do a plank perfect and one individual doesn't. So I'm going to give more time to this individual that struggles with the plank and putting him in his correct zone. Or if maybe that individual struggles with something, giving them less time to do it, while someone that can excel at that, they have more time.
Yeah.
Or if you look into like a cardio type of base, maybe some person can really run a mile and we have them run a mile, and that's part of the group workout that day. And that other individual is just starting on a cardio base and might not even have great running form. Maybe we just do a lap where we jog, walk, and just try to keep them in that developmental zone.
Yeah, right. Yeah, groups provide their own level of zone proximity. you know, versus if they're just by themselves, they have their own
Right.
or their own circle, you know.
Mm-hmm. You have like everybody's circle playing into one large group circle.
Yeah.
And I would say like for the group setting, like the large circle for that is just for them to be out there exercising, having fun, and then, you know, making friends, getting through the workout together.
That's what's cool about the group one is they can do the same exercise and like they're doing the same exercise, but they're still in their own
ZPT.
Yeah, ZBD.
Right. And so how do you modify a workout to, let's say you're doing push-ups, how would you modify a workout to have everybody in the ZP?
I like to do time. Like we're all gonna do a set of like an exercise for like 1 minute, you know, and you could for me, all of us, we could rep out a bunch of push-ups in 1 minute, but someone that can barely do push-ups is learning out how to do the form for 1 full minute.
Right.
We're all doing the same exercise, and it's like it's good for the group to know that we're all gonna do the same thing, but we could push ourselves to our own abilities, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it's all time.
Yeah.
Time, repetitions, all just modifying it based on the individual. And then if you know you have a individual that struggles more with exercise and they're just joining, that's why we generally like to have more than one of us there. So one person will take the group that has been doing very well together, and then one of us can go take the individual that struggles more, specifically if it's an exercise they're not quite as good at.
Right. And so what if you have a new client showing up and it's his very first day in the group setting? How do you guys go about finding this client's zone of proximal development?
That's kind of, so if they're joining the group setting, we have a group workout already set for that day. So they're going to come in, they're going to join that workout, and then it's going to be set upon them. So like I said, he might take the individuals that have been doing it longer, and then I'll give a lot more one-on-one attention to the person that has just joined. And then, oh, see, I can see like, oh man, there's some fatigue on his face. Boom, drop that.
Right.
Maybe we do 10 seconds. Then you can come talk to me, or we'll go listen to the music. And like I said, it's low pressure, so we're not going to be pushing you to do this.
Right.
We will push you, especially as we get going through the process and you've been there for a while. But we're also going to keep it low pressure. Hey, do what you can do, but also try to develop their form, anatomical positioning, and then you can even get into it a little bit further, because the individuals that have been doing it for a while, they're set. Like we had to work on a lot of things, like working on that plane, keeping the back straight, keeping your butt up. That new individual comes in, boom, we're building a base right there, you know, just taking that one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. So how do you manage incorporating him into the group socially while modifying the workout?
I think that also comes in of knowing the disability a little bit. So say we need to talk to the parent before, like,
right.
Is he autistic? Does he have mental delays? What is his social cues? What might, you know? So say we're in the group workout and this person's drifting off, we'll bring body in the group. Or like what we like to do a lot is when you first get there, whether we're at a park or the track, we usually send them on a group walk.
Right. Yeah.
So we try to keep them engaged together in the group walk, and they can start talking together. And when they're in the workout, then they can keep positive encouragement throughout the workout.
Right.
Especially it's crazy because a workout, like you're struggling, you know, and sometimes specifically autism, they don't always like to give positive reinforcement to someone else, or they don't pay attention much to actually giving that positive reinforcement. But if you actually look in the workout, they just did something hard together, and without even thinking, they go up to someone that did it with them. Good job.
Yeah.
Oh wow. We just did that together. It's like you're almost not even thinking.
Yeah, you struggle together, you bond together.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what would be some good workouts you guys set up to test a new kid's zone of proximal development, or a new client's zone of proximal development?
Definitely something simple like running, seeing how their cardio is like they're running. I personally am a fan of a game. I think that's pretty cool.
Okay.
just seeing their ability.
Games are fun. What kind of games do you play?
Basketball.
Invented game called pickleball. Yes.
Inspire special.
What that also does too is let you know their social standings within the group.
How they take.
How am I gonna have to use some behavioral tactics with them in the group setting? You know, am I gonna have to use different things to keep them engaged, or are they pretty much good on their own? You just need to prompt them to work out.
You could tell a lot by playing a game, like if their level of focus, and then that will play into how you're gonna coach them in the workout.
Right.
You know, like, oh, they do lack in like focusing and even getting commands and stuff. So that's gonna play a role when you're working them out.
Right.
So I think that's a good one. So something simple like running and then playing a game. That's what I like.
So those would be some basic core workouts you would do.
Very simple.
Well, so that would be a game's a good
it's a nice
warm up
really
type
good, yeah.
icebreaker.
Really
It's an icebreaker.
It's like the lap walking, and we're not doing it when we play basketball. We're just shooting around. It's nothing where we need to be. We're going full blast intensity,
Moving and having fun.
but as far as a lot of core workouts that a lot of these individuals can put together in their head, because a lot of them are difficult. Once you get into weightlifting, it's very complex. So first is being able to control your body.
Yeah.
So the first thing we'll do is we'll do a lot of planks, push-ups, different leg and arm variations of just lifting them up, burpees. And then when we do incorporate weights, it's generally kettlebell, because that's low impact. You can control it. The kettlebell can be controlled. As far as like the barbell, I mean, stuff like that, it's very complex, and that is an individual based session.
Yeah.
If it's a group session, it's going to be something like you're going to see in your step aerobic class.
Yeah.
You know, at a local gym, it's going to be a lot of movement, but that's where we come in with our experience in the field, just from our behavioral tactics, working in the school and working as speech therapists, being able to keep them on track and knowing what kind of workouts you can actually do with these kids.
Kind of just modifying the environment.
It's a modified, it's fitness like you would see anywhere else, but modified for individuals specifically with developmental requirements.
Yeah, the exercises are a lot very much body weight.
Yes.
Very low impact.
Yeah.
And then
stuff.
we can get into the sensory processing part right now too, because if you look at individuals that have disabilities, they have a lot of sensory issues. Mm-hmm. So we just did a hard workout and they just got done with us. Say set of curls, boom, I'm sore. They don't understand that. They don't understand like, hey, soreness kicks in tomorrow, you're tired. So it's also being able to deal with situations like that. Hey, you're going to be a little sore trying to explain, because they have sensory, they don't know whether maybe they're oversensitive and they're not really doing the squat because they think it hurts, but you need to push past it because it's not really hurting because they've never actually felt that. Or is it something that they don't really know their own pain, so they're just pushing too hard? Right. So you need to know those sensory inputs, loud music like we talked about as well, what's going on around.
Yeah, and I think the environment is a huge factor, just how we do it at a park or just low volume, low stimuli situations that allow these kids to have more concentration and just more focus on the workouts. We're never doing it at a crazy busy place or with a lot of noise around it. So it really allows these kids with those sensory deficits to kind of focus up.
Yeah, and it helps with their development.
Yes.
And then using a lot of positive encouragement in that ZPD too. You know what I mean? Like, say, you now know, like, hey, if we're working on the plank again and I need you to keep your hips up, I'm not going to give you some negative reinforcement. I'm going to give you like a positive reinforcement first and be like, hey, good job keeping your hands in the correct position.
Yes.
But let's bring your hips up a little bit, instead of being like, hey, bring your hips up. You're doing it wrong. Or like you could do at like a gym. It's just really keeping them in that zone, and one of those ways is just positive.
Right. Yeah. What's cool about doing an individual's ZPD is like you can push like to the limit of them not knowing something and pull back to something that they do know. And each kid you have to like push and pull to a certain extent. And like that, how you're talking, it's their personality that plays a role into the ZPD.
Yes.
It's more just, it's not just their abilities to move well, you know, it's
Right, and that's
their personality.
Right.
That plays a huge role.
Right,
know?
and that's what ZPD is. It's a cognitive theory, so it's how individuals develop in a whole. Just how me and you develop, we consistently stay in that zone of proximal development, and you can really, you know, you can build a really good life if you stay in that. But it's also really easy to fall off of that as well. So what about a time where you overestimated a client's abilities and you had to pull back into maybe a smaller zone, or you just overestimated, so you had to rechange your game plan?
I can think of 2 times, socially and both physically. You know, I thought that someone was capable of doing like squat type of workouts, you know, deadlift type workouts, you know, using their hips to hinge and do that type of stuff. But then like 6 months down the road, they still can't. So you're like, okay, well, we have to work on the very basic fundamentals of just like sitting on a wall and keeping your back straight and feeling that what it's supposed to feel like, you know.
Right. And what are some signs that you saw in the client that you knew you had to bring back?
Compromised form, you know.
Okay.
Ability to understand what you're saying. So squat takes a lot of direction. Me and you don't think it takes a lot of direction.
Right.
So we're going to keep our torso up, we're going to sit back, and we're going to hinge a little bit, you know, and we're going to keep our feet shoulder width apart. Now, if I'm trying to tell an individual with autism, especially depending on their executive function, there could be a high functioning kid, but has no problem getting an individual, like I said, with autism might struggle with, I need to hinge a little bit at the hips, keep my back straight, keep my shoulders pulled back, squat down past 90 degrees, which I might not know what 90 degrees means with my legs.
Right.
And then you explain that to them, then they have already forgot about their shoulders, keeping their, you know.
Right.
So then it's like, okay, let's correct that, but now we're going to need to modify that.
Keep
so
it rock
it could be like a half squat, mirroring, using less direction, you know, 1 to 2 steps.
That's why.
Because once you get into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because there's a lot of workouts that go up to, really you could go up to 10 different steps on them, but you got to bring that way back.
Right. What you think is 1 step, you can actually break it down into 5 steps.
Multiple
steps. That's something like brushing your teeth. That applies to brushing your teeth.
Yeah, very much so.
What you're saying though, you know, you could break down a squat to 10 different steps. You know, it's more simple to just be like put your back against the wall and like do a wall sit. You know, that's like less steps for them to comprehend. So.
And that's not an individual too. Like it's almost out of the picture doing a full barbell squat with you. But what can I do to work your legs? Wall sits, maybe a hang clean with the kettlebell, something, a simple movement that still can work.
Yep.
Right. A lot of muscular joints. I guess that's it on that question.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
actually, I have one more thing we could keep. We didn't really talk about the individual. So, I mean, individual, like we talked about, it can range. We could do low functioning, which is going to be a lot more game oriented. But if we have a high functioning individual, and it doesn't have to be autism, any disability, we can really build. You know what I mean? We can build that squat. We can build that deadlift. We can build a bench press. We can build a kettlebell form. As opposed to the group, it's going to be what we ourselves believe is the best for the group, like which is going to be like muscular endurance combined with muscular strength with